Hello, welcome back. It's been a week since I did the last video, I think. So I'm back for another quick recap. Let's just shimmy the camera back a little bit there. Okay, so quick update about my running. It was the second Tuesday of the month just gone, so it was the 4th handicap race at the running club. Since the beginning of January, I've been training quite hard. I've been steadily increasing the mileage. I've been reintroducing progression running, and I have been doing the occasional hard effort mile, specifically at the end of the run, the training run. So it seems to be paying off. In January, I was my slowest time ever. I was a good minute slower than my previous month's time, so that showed you what happened over the Christmas period. Put a bit of weight on, lack of training, fitness dropped, and I recorded my slowest run ever for that particular event. Come this Tuesday, after a hard month training in January and a little bit in February, I end up knocking 50 seconds off my December time. Or rather, me November time, I think it was. So I've improved. I actually finished 4th in the handicap. Feel like I've got a lot more to give. I'm getting fitness levels back up, which is really good. So my training does seem to be working. Progression running, it's the way forward. At least for me, it's the way forward. Okay, so I want to do a whisky review, and as you've probably seen by the comment, the title there, I'm doing a Talisker review. So I picked up a gift pack of Taliskers, the miniatures here. It was £12 from Asda, so that works out to be £4 a bottle. Well, actually it's not, because the 10-year-old is a more expensive whiskey than the other two, so there's a bit of a differentiation there. Never had Talisker before as a individual single malt. I have had Talisker as possibly a 15-year or older variant in Johnnie Walker Green Label, because Talisker is one of the 4 malts that goes into Green Label. Green Label is a 15-year-old blend, which means that the youngest whiskey that's gone into the 15-year-old has to be 15-year-old, which means there is a Talisker of 15-year-old or older has gone into Johnnie Walker Green. So I have had Talisker, although not in its individual guise. So everybody seems to rave about Talisker. The Storm and the Skye, whilst they are all at the same ABV of 45.8, are a little bit cheaper to buy in their 700ml bottles. Okay, so we'll do a quick review. So I've got here some brief tasting notes. I used the Whisky Exchange ever since I won the spends on the Christmas promotion they've been doing. I'm kind of promoting them a bit. I've got no connections with them. I have won through their Christmas competitions, so they're my go-to place for kind of whiskey reviews and getting to know whiskies a bit more. They tend to stock a lot of really good whiskies. There are other outlets out there, and I do use Amazon as well. But Talisker 10-year-old, so it's one of the classic malt series, which means I suppose it's owned by Diageo, because they do the classic malts. So you can indeed buy some 200ml gift packs of 3 different whiskies that they're currently pushing. They're on Amazon at the moment on discount. They've got the peaty one, the bold one, the coastal one, the light one, stuff like that. So the Talisker 10-year-old, what does it say? It represents Diageo's classic malt series 10-year-old profile, keeps increasing as more fans discover its intense, coastal, spicy, peaty character. So the character is described as being heather, white pepper, brine, smoke, and malt. It all sounds very nice. So I'm going to give it a little go here, and we'll see. See, I only just do a small pour of these things. Rather than going out and buying a big bottle and finding that it's not one of the whiskies that I'd kind of want to have every now and again. I prefer to buy the miniatures, and I'm glad that I found those as miniatures, and there's some more that I will be buying and do more taste reviews of in the miniature form, to give us a bit of a judgment on whether or not I want to buy a big bottle, because the big bottle isn't for everybody. I can smell that. I can smell that from here. All I'm getting at the moment is whiskey, as whiskey smell, which is expected because it's a whiskey. So the nose, I am getting the smoke. It's reminiscent of Lagavulin on the nose, a bit of that smoke. It's got sweetness and maltiness. So that's what I'm getting. I'm getting the sweet maltiness and some smoke. But I'm definitely getting, like, I think I said last time that the kind of, that whiskiness that I mentioned, that must just be like the malt. That's what I'm gonna go with. That it's the malt. But it does smell like it's quite a light peated whiskey. That it would be fair game as somebody who wants to switch from maybe a sweet honeyed, buttery, butterscotchy Speyside onto something a bit more peated. And I think this, on the nose, it's not too off-putting. Yeah, it's very nice. It's very, very nice. It's peaty. It's that smoky peatiness to it. Can't say that I'm detecting any heather, but that's probably a nose thing. I can't say I'm detecting any white pepper. I suppose it is spicy, but I wouldn't say the spiciness is white pepper. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's the yeah. So the second tasting there, a lot more pepper. It is a bit salty. Yes, it does have a salty quality to it. Okay, that is very enjoyable. Now Talisker on the Whisky Exchange is running at $37.95. Now last week I popped into the Metro Centre and I went to the whiskey shop, and a 200ml bottle, that's a small bottle, of Talisker 10 is £26. You can go online to the Whisky Exchange, and I think they do the same bottle for is it £14, £12, £14? There's a bit of a discount on it at the minute. Anyway, you can buy 2 bottles from Whisky Exchange for less than the price of 1 bottle from the whiskey shop. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But of course you can pick up a full-size bottle. Look around, you'll find some decent places. So that's the 10-year-old, which is very enjoyable. Okay, we're gonna go to Skye now. We'll see what Skye's got. Now, on the Whisky Exchange, you can get Skye for $35.95. Now, I've not done any pre-reading on these, so I really don't know what the difference is between the different drinks here. So, before I make any smells, what does they say? They say it's an easy drinking Talisker, taking the distillery's classically rugged character and softening it out while maintaining smoky and sweet notes the distillery is known for. More approachable, still definitely Talisker. So, the character of this is down as black pepper rather than white pepper, some orange and some pear, some apple, some brine, and some smoke. So it loses the maltiness, and it loses the heather, compared to the 10-year-old. Yeah. The white pepper goes to black. There's no heather. There's still smoke and it loses the maltiness. But it does have fruit characters, orange, pear and apple. And I love the fruits. So this probably goes back to what I was saying about how I thought the 10-year-old was going to be the bridge between a Speyside and a Smoky. Well, maybe it's this one. So Skye. So, I mean, I shouldn't really read the descriptions because it does kind of distort, I suppose, what I'm expecting. It gives us that preconceived ideas of what I'm going to smell. It prepares me for it. So on the Storm, I won't do that. We won't give us any advantage. But it does have that Talisker 10 nose to it. It does come across peaty, but it's more muted. They're there, but they're hidden. They're hidden a bit more. It is more fruity. I can't quite detect what the fruits are. So it's definitely fruity, smoky. Let's give it a go. Now my initial thoughts are that this is more like a Johnny Walker Red, which is just been beefed up a bit. It is nice. Again, you've got that distinct. There is malt there. I can detect the malt. I can detect the smoke, and it is fruity on the taste. I can't say that I'm detecting the 3 fruits as described, but no, I wouldn't say I can detect any of the orange, pear or apple. Maybe I have to live with the whiskey a bit longer. Maybe let it breathe a bit more. It's definitely nice. I would say that I prefer the 10 to this one, the Skye. It is a no age statement whiskey. There's nothing on the bottle. There's nothing on the website to say that there's an age statement for it. So it's a bit more youthful maybe. But yeah. So we'll put that one aside and we'll switch on to the final one, which is the Storm. So again, these are all the same ABV even, which I said was 45.3 or 45.8 rather. So I don't know if water would help. I'm just going to put water in the bottle there. I don't know if water would help release any of those flavours. It's hard to say. So I'm not going to read about Storm. We'll see what we can detect from it. So this is a sniffing glass that I got with a Dura pack for Christmas of somebody. It's I mean, if you compare it to the Glencairn, it's not as big. It's a bit more stubby. It hasn't got the handhold bit at the bottom. It has about, it's a smaller opening at the top. It doesn't hold as much liquid. So because I don't want to warm the whiskey up, which is the whole point of them, I hold the glass a bit higher, but you know, I have to hold it somehow because I don't want to slip. So I'm getting the brininess of this one, and I'm getting the smokiness. It doesn't appear as fruity on the nose as the Skye did. I would would say, again, it's a more muted version of the 10, but it doesn't have that typical fruitiness of the Skye. I got a hit of spice straight away off that. It's very, very peppery. I mean, very peppery. I mean, you can feel the. I mean, obviously the alcohol's there, but I'm adjusted to that now. But pepperiness on the tongue, it's quite intense, and there's definite smoke there. And I say the brine. I got brine. Those are the three dominant features of it. I'm not detecting any fruit, none. But there's something else there. I can't quite put my finger on it. Oh, it's much more aggressive on the pepper. Much more aggressive. The smoke, I would say the smoke's probably even more muted than the Skye was. So in terms of the smokiness, the Talisker is the most smoky. Then the Skye, then the Storm. Which, given the name Storm, I can only assume that they're going with the kind of spicy peppery for that. As to why it's called that. It's a woodiness. It's got a woody quality to it. I'm not sure what barrels they use for these. It doesn't say on the bottle, but I'm definitely getting some kind of a woodiness. Now, given that it tends to be oak that they use, I'm going to say that it's oak wood, but we'll see what the website says. Okay, so Talisker Storm. Released in 2013, Storm has the warm, smoky, peppery characteristics we love of the standard, but they've been turned up a notch with more smoke, more spice, and bigger than ever flavour explosion. Right, well, I agree with the spice. It's definitely spicier. I can't say I'd say that the smoke had been increased. I'm not getting that. So we're going back to the Skye. No. Still think the Skye's smokier. The character is described as white pepper. Obviously, we've got that straight away. Orange, brine, smoke, oak, and stewed fruit. So, yeah, the brine, we've got a bit of that. The pepper definitely was very, very peppery. There's a bit of the smoke there and the oak. It also says stewed fruit. I'm not saying that I'm getting... I can't say I get the stewed fruit. The Storm isn't a drink for me that you'd be able to drink as an all night. If you have one bottle to sit and just drink all night, the Storm's not that. Definitely not. It's too aggressive. It's nice. I wouldn't buy a bottle of it, unfortunately, and the retail price of it was down as $41.25, which on the Whisky Exchange I wouldn't pay that for it. It's nice. I can't see myself paying that kind of money for it. The Skye, £35. I don't think there's anything that it gives that I can't get from another whiskey. Yes, it's got the smokiness to it, but you know, I want that smokiness to be more dominant. So the 10, the regular 10 is a nice drink. It does it. So we'll give the finish of the 10 there, and we'll just see. Yeah, the 10's more balanced. It doesn't have any one particular part of the profile other than the smoke wanting to dominate. With the Storm, I found it was the pepper that was just dominating. It's there, just very aggressive at you. The Skye, more muted. The Skye would be an easy sipping. You could probably do a session on the Skye. However, I think you'd probably get bored of it after maybe a couple of drams. The Talisker 10, however, if you're into your peat or into your Storm, or you want to be introduced to your peat, your smoke even, that's the one to go for. It's a nice, balanced, well-rounded dram. So yeah, that's kind of my judgments. So what am I going to do with the three of them? So what I've done in previous videos, I've dumped them into my infinity bottle. However, I think I'm enjoying the 10 too much to do that, so I'm going to keep the 10 and we'll have that another night. The Storm is very peppery aggressive. Now, I've recently just dumped the rest of my Jim Beam, double oak and the rye into my infinity bottle. So at the moment it's quite heavy on the bourbon, specifically the rye is kicking in. So I'm going to try and tone that down a bit by adding a bit more of a peat heavy drink to it. So I'm going to dump probably some more Ardbeg into it. I don't want to add either of these two to it. I think they'll just be lost. I don't think they're going to add anything to it at this point. But I won't drink them, I'll keep them back, and we'll see what happens as I adjust my infinity bottle. Recently, I had a glass from the infinity bottle, and it was around Christmas time, and it was very nice. I mean, I sat there and I was just thinking, wow, this is just incredibly nice. And I could taste the recent peat editions of the Lagavulin, the Lafroig and the Ardbeg. They were there, they weren't dominating, but they were noticeable, and I was enjoying it. So I took I think it was a 200 ml, no it wasn't, it was a half bottle, it was a 350 ml bottle that I had. So I've decanted the 350 ml from the infinity bottle into that spare bottle I had. So I've now got that sitting. It's a nice addition of the infinity bottle. I'd say as it is now, it's a bit dominant of the rye and the oak of the Jim Beam that I've added in. So Jim Beam. So I'm going to see what I can do to adjust that down, mute those down a bit, and I'll come back to you. So it's 24 minutes almost. I think we'll call it a night, and we'll say I better get the tea on for the missus who's due in the house very soon. So the bairn's just gone to sleep. Champion, we'll see you all later. Try that again.